Okay, so here's a quick walkthrough video through Charles, the Bubble Chrome extension plugin. Firstly, going to talk about what Charles is and what you can do with it. And then I'm also going to take you through the detailed setup process so you know exactly what to do if you want to use Charles yourself. Okay, so first things first, what is Charles? Charles is a way for bubble builders to build and deploy Chrome extensions based on bubble apps without the need to code anything. And before I'm going to show you how it all works, I'm just going to show you the thing in action. So I've installed a basic version of Charles here on my Chrome browser. And what this is going to do, it's just going to render a predefined bubble app that I've built. And it also has some intelligence, so we can do some cool stuff with it. So if I just click on the icon here, we can see our bubble page is loaded. We can do things from here. So this is basically a Chrome extension. Even if you don't do anything, you can just basically show your web page here. And then since we use the bubble plugin for Charles, we can also do some cool things. For example, we see currently we're on the page called Charles. This is the current URL. I can also select some text here. Then again, click here. And then we see our selected text. And then we can do things like open a new alert, open a new tab, show an alert, or open an iframe in a modal, which is pretty cool. I'm just going to show you this quickly. So this just opens up another bubble app in something like a pop-up here. Okay, so basically what it is, it's a way of rendering your bubble app in a Chrome extension, and then it gives you two-way communication between this window here and the browser itself. Okay, this is what Charles is. Now, how can you set it up? I'm actually just going to remove this here and then take you through the detailed setup process. If you go to the Charles website, bubblehex.io/Charles, you will find pretty detailed description of the current features. I'm going to add more to this in the coming weeks. And we have a pretty detailed setup. So the first thing that we want to do is we want to, of course, build our bubble app. And here we need to pay attention to the dimensions because the bubble app should have the dimensions of the pop-up that I showed you previously here. You don't need to use this dimension. You can use any dimensions you want, but 320 times 640 usually is a good start. Then in your bubble app, it's important to allow the app to be rendered as an iframe. So we go to our app, we go to settings, general, and then make sure that allow to render the app in an iframe is allowed as all iframes. Okay, that's the first step that we need to do. Otherwise, the pop-up will just be blank. And then that's optional. If you need two-way communication between your plugin pop-up and the browser, so if you want to get the current tab's information or open a new pop-up or show alerts, get the selected text and so on, you can install the Charles Chrome plugin to your bubble app. So just click here, just get to the link. You can also just go in your app, go to plugins, add plugins and find it here. This is how it looks. Okay, so this is done. Then the next thing that we want to do is get our Chrome extension files. This is really the Chrome extension that we can install. Just click here. This brings us to a download page. We download the latest version to our downloads. Let's go back here. Just gonna click here to see what's inside. Okay, cool. So if you're in here, there's a bunch of files, and then we need to do some setup on these. This is also described in detail in here. So the first thing that we want to do is we want to link the Chrome extension with the bubble app of our choice that we want to display in the pop-up. So for me, if I just go to my bubble app here, if I click on preview, that's the URL that I want. Let's make sure not to get the debug mode parameter in here. So I'm just going to copy this. And then going back to my files, you can really open this with any text editor. I'm going to use Atom. So I'm just going to open the popup.js, or actually what I'm going to do is I'm going to open up Atom. And really feel free to use any kind of text editor. These are all just text files, regardless of the endings. So I'm going to Atom, which is, by the way, an open source project by GitHub. So if you need the text editor, I can only recommend downloading Atom. So I'm just going to drag the folder into here. And voila, I have my files. And said the first thing that I want to adjust is popup.js. So I'm going to go to popup.js. And then in here, that's the URL of the app that is rendered. I'm just going to paste the link that I just copied from the Bubble preview. That happens to be the same since this is my demo app that I'm using. Then the second thing that you want to do is adjust the height and width. You need to do this in 2 places. So that's the height and width of the pop-up. It should be the same dimensions as your Bubble app. This needs to happen in popup.js and in popup.html. So going back here, popup.js, you can just adjust these 2 numbers, make sure not to change anything else. And then in popup.html, we have the same. We have the width and the height. Just adjust the numbers here. I'm just going to leave them as is for now. And then we're already ready to install the Chrome extension. Maybe let's do a little bit of cosmetics first. If you want, this is described a bit later here. So here, that's described a bit later in terms of adjusting your name and versioning. You don't have to do that, but it's good to do it at this point if you want. So let's go to the manifest.json file. In here, manifest.json, we can adjust the name of our extension. I mean, I really don't have to do this if you're just playing around. This is only important if you ship it to the Chrome extension store. We have the description that we can adjust. We can adjust the versioning. It's important that every time we deploy it to the Chrome extension store that this is increased. Otherwise, it will get an error. You don't really have to touch the rest for now. If you want, you can also adjust the images. So that's basically the image that you're gonna see up here. So you can go to the extension and you see there's these 4 images here, 16, 32, 48, and 128 pixels square. You can just use any image you want. You can use something like simple image resizer to resize your image. Just make sure you keep the names. So if you replace this image, keep the names, or alternatively, you can change the names here. So you see this is pointing to the folder image and then to the file. Because since we're in the folder images, then we have the file, either leave the names or replace them here and also down here. And then we're ready to go and install our Chrome extension. That's super simple. You can just click on the extension icon here, say manage extensions. This brings you to this window, or you can simply go ahead and type Chrome ://extensions in Chrome directly, and this brings you here. Then you can first you need to activate the developer mode, and then you can say load unpacked extension. Find the, by the way, save all the files here. Once we change them, you need to save them, of course. And then we can just go to our downloads folder or wherever your folder is, select the folder here. Don't click into it, just select it. Go select. And voila, here is our extension. Then it also should be here. Okay, great. I can pin this now. And now I have my extension here. And if I click on it, it renders the Bubble app that we specified in our code. Okay, that's pretty much how to set it up on the Chrome extension part. Let's look how to set it up in Bubble, and then I'm going to give you a quick demo of the features and how to use them. So in Bubble, as said, the first thing that we want to do is install the plugin, and then it comes with currently 2 elements and 4 actions. So the elements serve as a way to funnel information back from Chrome through our extension code into Bubble. As said, this is important if we need something like the infos of the current tab or the selected text. If I select, I can't select it on this page, but I can select something here. Yeah, that's what these elements are for. To use it is pretty simple. We just go to our page. In the elements editor, we search for Charles. Then we have these 2 elements here. You can just drop them on the page somewhere. I've already have them here. So let's select the text and the tab info. And then we can use these elements and tap into their states if we want to get the information. So we have a text element here that's called, when I want to display the current tab title. So I'm just going to select Charles tab info a tab title. Here I can select the URL. And here I can select the selected texts element, selected text. It's pretty much everything that needs to happen there. Everything else is done by the plugin in the background. For the actions, it's the same thing. If I want to do something like open a iframe in a modal, there is an action here. I've already prepared this, but if you need, just search for Charles, and then you see the actions here. Here is open iframe in new modal. This comes with 2 inputs. I need to know which URL I need to open and also what title to display. So URL and title, again, if we go here, we take it from here because in our setup, delete this original setup, I'm just going to use these inputs. So you can pretty much render any other or even the same extension that you already have in here. In my case, it's an other bubble app. Make sure also in the other bubble app that iframes are allowed in the settings. So I click here. We open this modal or pop-up, whatever you want to call it, and then load an other bubble app. The thing in here, this is really just another bubble app. And then the header bar is provided by Charles itself. We can also click here and close it. So that's one thing. Set. We have a few more comments. One is, let me just actually go ahead and hide this here so I have a bit more space. By the way, one important thing is in here, I have a group content in my plugin page. And what you can see here is I give this a max and I allow scrolling if it overflows. All my elements are in here. Just make sure that if things don't fit in here, I can actually scroll up and down. Okay, let me just go ahead and hide this quickly. So you see what's underneath. Okay, there's a few more actions here. I have shown alert button. This basically just shows a native alert whenever you want to inform the user about something. So if I go here and I use this, just shows an alert. And make sure to notice the title here is coming from the current website that your user is on. We can open a new tab. So that's the same thing. Just one action, specify the URL that is supposed to be opened. If I do this right now, I can just specify a URL here, use the input, open a new tab. And this brings me to a new tab. And then last but not least, we have an action to just close the pop-up itself. Okay, we can just close the pop-up instead of, need to clicking outside of it. This is important if you have some actions that need that. That's it for now. I'm gonna add a bunch of different features very, very soon. So if you want to deploy your plugin once you're done building, there's a pretty detailed description in the Chrome developer docs, but it's actually super simple and that's pretty much it. I hope this is helpful. Let me know what you think of Charles. Also, let me know if there's any features that you need. I'm happy to add more features. And let me also know if you have any questions or something doesn't work. And of course, if you like the tool, please feel free to give it a review. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Thanks a lot. See you soon.